but I don't know if it's uncomfortable. But what's the real scoop with Teresa's engagement party with Dolores?
This is why my Google alert is blowing up. Like, I guess the reunion covered one part of it, and then Teresa did an interview another, and then Dolores did an interview another, and now everyone's like saying like, what's the real story? So you know me, I'm going to tell the real story. Teresa, obviously Dave and I were there for the engagement, the actual engagement. We were in Greece with them when it happened. We were a big part of it. You know, we knew before Teresa knew. And then Teresa said, you know, Dee, I'm having this party, engagement party, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And right away my heart sunk because what a lot of people don't understand is I had not been back to New Jersey at all from 2009 during the pandemic at all. But even before that, from after my incident, it was like I ran in maybe 3 times total since 2017, and that was to see my mom. Yeah. And I spent the summer in the Hamptons with my dad, and to spend some time with Dave's children here and there. But it's like I run into New Jersey and run out as soon as I can. So for me to go to this event, first of all, was a huge deal, emotionally and PTSD-wise and everything. Because if you guys remember, the incident happened on the night of Teresa's small dinner party for Adriana's christening. So it was a little too close for comfort. Like here I am going back east for an event for Teresa that everyone was going to know about. So my initial instinct was like, Teresa, I love you. Well, I love you. I was there at the engagement. I don't think I need to be there for the party because it's hard for me to go to New Jersey, and it was a little too like real, like going to a party, whatever. Right. So I told Dave, I'm like, I can't do it. We'll go to the wedding, and I have time to prepare for it, but I can't do the engagement party. So anyway, she called me and she's like, no, you're coming. This is part of your therapy. You are coming to New Jersey, and this is a great reason, and you're going to be safe, and I promise you're going to be fine. So I was like, okay, fine. Now, I was thinking it was going to be like a big engagement party. So then I hear it's going to be a little intimate dinner. So was that better? I mean, it was better in a way where like a lot of people wouldn't know about it. Whereas like that's what kind of worries me is like when everyone knows something's going on, everyone knows I'm going to be in New Jersey. But when I thought it was going to be a small thing, like right away, I know she's, filming and she's been closer to Dolores. So let me first say that Dolores and I have been in the same room since our falling out of friendship. We didn't have this huge fight. We both saw each other at Teresa's mother's funeral. We were so nice to each other. As a matter of fact, she was talking about Frankie. Little Frankie was doing something in California. I said, let him stay with me. She met Dave. It was very cordial, very nice. I was happy to pick up where we left off. Yeah, it was fine. Not a big deal. No, and I saw her one other time, I guess at Lauren's wedding before I left abruptly. But I saw her there, and again, very nice, very cordial. So it's not about me and Dolores needing to be in the same room and what's going to go down. I think Dolores and I are very much the same way in that we're not going to make a scene. We put Teresa first. It's not about that. It's just about I was really uncomfortable, being on the East Coast for an event like that. And it was the first time I had been back since my dad died. He died in 2020, April 2020. Yeah. And I knew I wanted to go visit his gravesite, and I wanted to go see my mom the first time I saw her since my dad died. So I knew it was going to be a very emotionally charged trip. There's a lot going on. And I cried for like the 2 days going into it, up to if you look at pictures of the engagement party, I was just like somber. It was just like a very oh my god. It was just like went to my dad's grave. Granted, there's a lot. Yeah. Okay, so the Dolores piece wasn't the biggest problem. The Dolores piece wasn't the biggest problem, but it was there. So I did say to her when I found out it was going to be a very small intimate party, and she was saying like, oh, the girls from the show are going to be there, and what people don't understand is, yes, her and Dolores have known each other for 20 some odd years, but they weren't friends. Like Teresa and I have been friends. They were acquaintances, and they became close once she started filming for the show again. Much like, Teresa and I discussed on my episode. But Teresa and I are like friends and have been friends since we're 20 something years old. Her daughter's godmother, Dave and Louie, are very close. And at that time, I assumed she knew that they wanted Dave and I in the engagement party and the wedding party as well. Okay, right. So I said to her again, T, I know I said this before, and I'm not going to lie. It wasn't just this. It was, again, my fears were coming up. And I said, listen, there's some people that are very intertwined in the Manzo family.
I just wanted to jump on here and just share with you all, because I've listened to Dina Manzo's interview. I'm glad that Dina finally came out. I was not expecting her to come out so quickly. I have said this in my previous episodes of Housewives Relatable. I was expecting for Dina to come in maybe 5 years or 10 years and clarify the situation for us. So, first of all, I have to say, before I dive into this a little bit more deeper, I do not want to minimize Dina's trauma. Okay, I realize that this must be extremely difficult for Dina to talk about, Dina has been a victim of a burglary, assault. I think it was in 2017. I can't recall exactly, but, it's still recent. So I understand that Dina does not feel comfortable going back to New Jersey for that reason. It is pretty traumatic. So I do not, by any way, shape, or form, minimize Dina's trauma. And I applaud her for even attending the engagement party at Teresa, given what happened to her and David. So now that I've said this, although I applaud Dina for the interview or for coming out and trying to clarify the situation somewhat, I have to say that I do not believe Dina. I have to be honest, because that's what I do. So the reason why I say this is because Dina has a track record of not telling the truth when it comes to this. Okay, if you recall, who was the first person to bring up to the public that there was a feud between Dina and Caroline? If you have been a fan of The Real Housewives of New Jersey for as long as I have been a fan, you would know that this information came to you by no one other than Teresa Giudice. Teresa Giudice was the one who brought it up to the public. She brought it up at the season 3 reunion. I believe it was episode 2. She said to the public, while she was speaking to Caroline or fighting with Caroline, she said, "What happened to you? No wonder Dina doesn't want to talk to you." To which Caroline responded, "I've lost a lot of my relationship with Dina because of you." Right? So I will add this to, I will add the recordings at the end, just so you know what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you, Teresa Giudice was the first one to bring that information to the public. So now fast forward to season 13, literally 10 years later. This information was brought to us by no one other than Joe Gorga. Okay, so it seems like history is repeating itself. The first time it was Teresa, the second time it was Teresa's brother. So Joe Gorga tells us, the viewers, that there is a feud between Dina and Teresa because of a business deal gone wrong between the men, Louis Ruelas and David Cantin. What the business deal was, I don't know. Do I care? Not really. Dina is not on the show, neither is David, right? But this information was confirmed by Joe. And other people have brought this up as well on the show, right? Melissa said, "You don't speak with Dina." And the reason why Dolores is being invited to the wedding is because Dina is no longer a bridesmaid. I believe I heard Jackie in the background talk at the Shore House and say, yeah, she's feuding with Dina, right? We've read extensively in the blogs before the show even aired that there was a falling out between the women, right? So we kind of knew this, but it was never confirmed by Teresa. Teresa always said, oh, no, I speak to her. Yeah, there's no pictures. You guys used to travel together. She used to be in your wedding and all of this. And now, out of the sudden, there's no communication online. There's no love online. There's no likes. There's no pictures. There's nothing. And out of the sudden, the lawyer wants to make it seem like James Leonard, who happened to be Melissa and Joe's lawyer as well. I don't know if he still represents them, but now he is, he's been Teresa's lawyer for several years. So he came out to say, no, Dina and David are very private and guarded. They're very uncomfortable when it comes to the cameras. I don't know. I don't know about that. That never made sense to me. Dina was on the show. Season 1. Season 2, she was there and then she left. She came back season 6. She had a show on, I can't remember which network, like some sort of decor show at some point, right? She had this. Before she was on Housewife, she had My Big Fat Italian Wedding with Tommy Manzo. If you want to see who Tommy Manzo was, you can see him on that show, right? I think it was through MTV. I can't really remember. But anyways, it was My Big Fat Italian Wedding where she was basically marrying Tommy, right? So I don't know about David. Maybe this is true about David because I've never seen the guy on TV. I only see him. I know what he looks like on his Instagram, but that's about it, right? But to say that Dina is very guarded and very uncomfortable around the cameras, I don't know, like lawyers, they make a lot of money. They need to come up with better excuses than those because it's like, that's all you got? Like, really? Like, she's been on camera for a long time. She has a podcast and she goes and does lives on her Instagram. She can't be that uncomfortable. That excuse in itself never made sense to me. And I'm not even trying to say that to be mean, because I happen to like Dina. Dina is the whole reason why I started watching the show in the first place, but that's a different conversation. At some point in time, I'll, dig into that a little bit more and explain. If I haven't done it already, I'll explain what I mean by that. But anyways, I'm just saying, Dina cannot be so uncomfortable around cameras. That does not make sense to me. It might make sense to others, but to me, it doesn't make sense, right? So, like I was saying, I feel like Dina has done this historically, and she has herself admitted to that several times. Even to Andy, when Dina came back season 6 at the reunion again, she was wearing that beautiful black dress and her hair was done. Like, she looked absolutely beautiful, right? The season of the twins. Obviously the subject of Caroline came on with Jacqueline and Chris Loretta, and basically Dina said, listen, I love my sister Caroline. I would love to do a cooking show with her. And then, Caroline later on was on Watch What Happens, and her response was, Dina can stick the cooking show. She needs to grow up. That's what she said, right? But anyways, what Dina said on that show, she said that she never thought that the rift between her and her siblings was as deep as it was. She was always trying to downplay their drama to the press. She was always speaking positively of her siblings. And whenever the subject of Caroline or Jacqueline would come up, she would just say nice things about them. And she even said in that, like on that reunion show, season 6, she said, I was trying to do that thinking that the story would go away, but my family kept on feeding into it and it never went away. So basically that's like a Dina tactic. Okay, that's what she does. She says that there's no issues. She says that everything is fine. She says that she loves everybody. She says that at the end of all of this, everybody is going to just, gather around a table and break bread together. That's what Dina does. But meanwhile, there's some real deep shit that are going on that the public does not know about. And I'm not saying that I need to be privy to that information. I only care about really what happens on the show. But what I know is, don't insult our intelligence, because we can read between the lines. We know when things are not normal, okay? You don't have to give us details, but you can at least admit to the truth and just say, yeah, I don't talk to my sister, and leave it at that. I don't talk to Teresa, and leave it at that. You don't have to give us the details, because really it's none of our business. Dina's not on the show. She used to be. Like I said before, we will forever have questions because she used to be a housewife. But she doesn't have to answer our questions. But she could at least be honest and just say, no, I don't talk to them. I don't. And that's the reason why I have a problem with some of these channels or some of these accounts. They like to come out and say, yeah, some of these channels, they just like to come out and say, oh, yeah, we understand, and this is the truth, right? But it's always skewed to just one party. I'm not saying that they're journalists. I'm not stating that that's what they should be doing. I understand. We're reading gossip here. But it seems a little bit biased. Dina didn't come out to a Kempire, for example, right? She didn't choose Kempire to come and say, you know what, let me talk about this and, put it to rest, put it to bed once and for all, and say that there is absolutely no feud between me and Teresa and Louis and David. She chose a particular account to talk about this, an account that happens to favor things that Teresa says. I've said in the past, Teresa's a great housewife. I happen to like her on the show, but let's be honest. Is Teresa going to go on Kempire? Probably not. Is she going to go on a different, she might go to Up and Adam, right? She might go to him because he won't challenge her. And it makes sense for Dina to go on All About the Real Housewives because she won't be challenged there. The person will tell her straight up, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Those people will just yes you to death, right? And then people will just run with it. But I'm not impressed. I'm not inspired. I don't buy it. It's not true. It can be. And there's a lot of holes in Dina's story as well, right? And guys, I'm not upset. I'm just saying, sometimes when I watch some of that stuff, not on the show necessarily, but outside of the show, when people come on and they try to clarify something and you can clearly tell that they're lying, right? It's just lip service at this point. I don't appreciate it. I just get fired up. And I'm just saying at this point, Dina, you should have just stayed home and not even said anything. Because now people are going to start digging even more because they don't believe you. Okay? In that clip, you said, me and Dolores don't have any problems. When I saw her last at Teresa's mom's funeral, we talked. I introduced her to my husband, David. She was telling me that little Frankie was staying over in California. I even told her, have him stay with me. It's like, Dina, how does that make any sense? If you don't like Dolores, and if Dolores doesn't like you, you don't want her son to stay at your house. She doesn't want to send him over to your house. You guys don't speak. Not so long ago, you were confirming online that Dolores and your sister had something to do with some letters, that were written in favor of your ex-husband, Tommy. So we're not going to go into all of that right now. But, there's some animosity there for sure. So now you're just going to casually run into her and just say, yeah, have your son stay with me. And she's going to say yes. It doesn't make any sense. That sounds like somebody who wants to kill a certain narrative, or she doesn't want something to be exposed to the public, right? She doesn't want us to talk about it. That's what it sounds like to me. And when you listen to Dolores talk about Dina, there is no love lost on Dolores' side. You could tell. Because in that interview with that producer, even Andy said that to Dolores. He said, well, you were pretty aggressive in your response to the producer. You said, I'm never speaking of Dina Manzo. Never speaking of Dina. And we have seen multiple interviews of Dolores basically saying just that. I'm on the show. She's not. She's mad because I'm on the show and she's not. Basically implying that Dina might be a little bit jealous that Dolores is getting all of this attention now and that she's no longer on the show. I don't buy it. There's something going on in this family, and it's not my story to tell. Like I said before, there's a lot of allegations when it comes to that side of the family, right? And even Dina, in that interview, she says, I just didn't really want to go back to New Jersey because, there's a lot of people that were supposed to be there at the engagement party that are very intertwined with the Manzo family. What does that mean? What does that mean? What's going to happen? Well, obviously, we've seen what could happen to Dina, which was very unfortunate and sad. But what is she implying? Is she implying that Dolores is... Anyways, I'm not even going to go there. But I'm just going to say, it does not make sense that Dina comes out and says to that person, oh, I don't have a problem with her. I'm even willing to have her son come and stay with me, right? Doesn't make sense. And then, if you recall, I have to try to find this clip. It's not a clip, actually. It's like this capture that I saw online several years ago. But there was this guy called Luke, and this is what he wrote. He said, let me find it right there. Luke apparently said, he posted a picture of Caroline and Tommy Manzo side by side, and he posted the words thick as thieves, basically playing on the expression that Caroline has been saying since season 1 when it comes to her family. Let's talk about my family, right? We're thick as thieves. That's something that she said, right? So anyways, that guy Luke said, for years, I have sat by and watched Dina take the high road over and over, staying silent for many reasons, but mainly out of respect for the family. So then Dina saw this and she said, normally, Lukey, I would ask you to take this down, but you know what? I'm starting to think some just expect us to stay quiet while they continue to hurt others. That's what gives them the power, she wrote. I'll say it again. It's not okay to take kindness for weakness. Plus, if I don't laugh at this point, I'll just continue to cry. I love you. So again, I'm just saying, for those of you who have forgotten, for those of you that are going on social media and saying we should just accept what Dina said, I accept the fact that we may never know the truth. I accept that. But I do not think that Joe Gorga at this point was lying. I think Joe is telling the truth because, it's a pretty big accusation. It's one thing to say, oh, these people are not talking to each other anymore. And that could be a lie, right? But it's another thing to go as far as saying, well, this guy called me. This guy said that he had a business deal that went wrong with this person. It's too specific. I'm pretty sure that some people can get in trouble for that, right? Especially if they're going to repeat that on TV. So I don't see it here. I don't think that Joe is lying when he's saying this, right? I think he's telling the truth. Dina has admitted several times, even in that post to her friend Luke, right? She said, listen, I normally ask people to stay out of my family drama. I don't want my family to get bashed on social media. She has admitted this. She said she will be the first one to call you and just say, hey, can you take down this post? Or you're not supposed to speak about this, or you're not supposed to speak about that, right? Let's just keep it cool and pretend that there's nothing going on, because I truly believe that Dina does not need that drama in her life, right? At the end of the day, she's doing, her podcast and everything is so positive, and I honestly applaud her for this, for all of that. But at the end of the day, because of her track record, I have to say, I don't buy this. I do not. And I'm not a journalist, but I have been trained to believe that when a story has holes, right, it's not true. When it does not make sense, it is not true. And I refuse to just run with it just because I like a particular housewife. The story does not make sense. And that's all I'm going to say.
Dina, you wrote in your blog about having funerals in your head for those who cross you. Did you do this for Caroline and Jacqueline?
No, I'm not talking to Dina.
You and Dina are not.
Dina's not talking to me. Yeah, because of your doing. She claims that I never supported her, and Teresa's a big part of it.
I don't have a relationship with her right now.
She still hasn't acknowledged my son. There's things, that are hurtful.
We're going to be fine, though, one day. She's got to go through it.
I usually don't have funerals for family, but there might have been a wake.
There might have been a wake? Really? Have you spoken to either Caroline or Jacqueline recently? Do you think you'll ever reconcile?
I think what they think and what I think are two different things. For me, it's like just taking a break. I'm sure one day they will. Yeah, I mean, with my sister, I'm sure. But unfortunately, I don't know.
Clearly, there's a lot of pain there.
I love my brother. I love my sister. Right now, I got to be honest with you, there are certain people that I cannot have an exchange with.
Jacqueline.
It's always toxic. It's just healthier to love from a distance. For me.
And nobody could judge her because I could totally respect her decision.
The issue was the show, it seems like.
The show definitely
played a huge part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teresa, Laura, and your return to the show. Paulie from Amarillo, Texas said, Dina, you were gone forever. What made you decide to finally return? Is it because certain people from the show are no longer on it?
I'm not going to lie. That did have something to do with it. I would never do a show with family again.
Because?
Just not a healthy environment.
Uh-huh.
If it was a cooking show or something fun, maybe.
You're telling me you would do a cooking show with Caroline?
I absolutely would.
You would?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love my sister.
Yeah. You're just not getting along.
I'm not going to get into this with a sibling.
My family. We are thick as thieves, and we protect each other to the end.
I didn't even know Dina was still upset with me from season 1 until Teresa told me. I was there.
What'd you say?
I was there.
You were there? Yeah.
But I will say, in Jacqueline's defense, Jacqueline did text Lexi and said that she would try to come. But beforehand, she wanted to have a sit down. And that's not what we wanted to do. We just, I would love for them all show up and everything just go away.
Do you think that's possible, though?
I try to squash it a million times in the press and say everything was fine, hoping that they would go along with it. And then just, you see each other and everything goes back to normal. But it somehow doesn't go away.
There's all this kumbaya nonsense that's going on. It's all fake. That's why it came out on the press, things about Dina. Hello?
You see all the blogs, they were saying that, Dina is not coming to the wedding, that Louis got in a fight with Dina's husband.
That's how ridiculous it is. Dina's husband, David, called me. Because I'm friendly with David. Pizzagate Part 2. Louis screwed me, right? With the pizza business. And she jumped ship and went on his side. And it f***ed up another relationship in Teresa's life.